state, I used to guess horse sizes at a county fair, and that one is a big.
Christina, it's such an honor to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't think you were in the courtroom in New York, but no, it didn't look good. Didn't look very pretty from what we saw.
No, this is what happens when you bring bad cases with bad charges with bad facts. It has a hard time standing up under its own weight, and I think that's what we're seeing happen pretty much across the board.
There isn't any good news if you are Joe Biden over the last 24 to 48 hours. In fact, there is a lot of reason to be like reaching for the bottle of Xanax, right? Okay, and another like pack of adult diapers, right?
Yeah, I think, they have overplayed their hand. Every time they overplay their hand, we go, oh my gosh, they're overplaying their hand. And then they double down and double down and double down. And they're getting to the point where they can't stand up under the weight of their own corruption, under the weight of their own lies, under the weight of their own deceit, under the weight of their own fraud, all of this propaganda that they're trying to perpetuate among the American people through the court system. I mean, it's just falling apart.
So this is really interesting because you've been by Donald Trump's side for a very, very long time. And maybe you could give us, I mean, it's been years, right? Like maybe you can give us some insight into how the man is aging in reverse, how the guy seems to be handling all this so well. I mean, did he know that the documents case was going to be delayed indefinitely? Did he know the appeals court was going to pick up the Fani Willis stuff? It's remarkable. It's
really remarkable. And I don't know what to chalk it up to other than what you said earlier. Is it divine providence? That's the only thing I can think of, because I genuinely believe I have spent a fair amount of time with President Trump. I've worked with him and I've gone through really difficult times with him as well. And I can tell you, I do not believe that he has the ability to cave. He doesn't have the ability to give in, to make his life easier, to make it all go away, just to get them to stop. He's just not built that way. So when they put this plan into place to go after Donald Trump, saying, oh, we'll get him to break, we'll get him to bow out, we'll get him to, go away quietly so that we can still keep control of the United States government, they picked the wrong person, because he's not going down. And it's what they're doing is going to end up taking down their entire criminal structure that they've put together to try to criminalize political opposition.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It really does seem like there's a big Uno reverse moment happening right now. We haven't built the graphics package yet for the show, but we're gonna build the Uno. We're gonna build the Uno reverse because everything seems to be flipping. Okay, so let's zero in on just 2 or 3 quick things from breaking news, and then I'd like to talk about the RNC in a second.
Yeah.
So breaking news. At time of show, at time of going live today, Fani Willis appeals court is gonna hear the Fani Willis disqualification case. We likened it to pissing in a pool. It's the best we could come up with. You got to drain the whole pool. Okay, you can't just get rid of half the water. You got to drain the whole pool. Sorry for this sort of crude allegory there, but perhaps you could illuminate for us, like, what are your thoughts on that case? What do you think? I mean, what do you think are the chances Fani Willis is going to continue on?
I actually think it's the perfect analogy, and I've used it myself. When you pee in the pool, you can't separate it anymore. The damage is done, and you have to drain the whole pool. And with Fani Willis, the thing that struck me as odd as an attorney, when 2 attorneys are conflicted, that means both attorneys are conflicted. It's not like, oh, well, one gets to keep the conflict and the other one has to go away, which is what the trial court had ruled. No, if you're conflicted, you're conflicted. Neither of you should be able to stay. So I hope that the appeals court takes a real serious look at this and says, we probably should follow the law once in a while, because that's the way every other attorney conflict works. Is if both attorneys if they have a conflict with each other and they started the case together and they did the case together, meaning they put together the grand jury, right, and they got the indictment together, they're both conflicted out. You can't just keep one and make the other one go away. This isn't high school prom. This is. They both have to leave the case. So I don't know what the appeals court's going to do, but that's what they should do.
I'm arguing against our own programming here because I'd love nothing more than to see Fani Willis with her dress on backwards, with her upside down American flag pin, throwing papers, right, lying under oath. I've never been to the White House. Well, the Secret Service says otherwise. How stupid are you? Like, it'd be great for daytime television. Doesn't seem like the brightest bulb in the box. Seems like she's got some other major problems going on with firing whistleblowers. It's a bit of a tire fire down there in Fulton County.
Well, if you think about it, those are the kind of people that the crazy globalists need to bring cases like this, because smart, hardworking attorneys who care about their bar license and who care about their ethical obligations don't bring cases like this.
Hmm.
And so you have to find someone willing to do it. And the problem that they have is the people willing to do it are people like Fani Willis, who bring a plethora of their own problems. So I don't think they're going to have a clean case in any of these cases. I think they're all going to be quite difficult because of the caliber of the case being brought. It's quite low.
So Ed Meese at the Heritage Foundation, obviously a legend in the legal space and one of the smartest, most thoughtful legal scholars there is, issued to the Supreme Court a brief saying Jack Smith's illegal, right? and then we saw yesterday Judge Cannon say, I'm going to hear that. I'm going to hear that case as to whether Jack Smith has the lawful authority to be the special counsel. Now, that's super interesting to me, along with the delay of the indefinite delay of the trial. Do you think that Jack Smith has legal authority as special counsel?
Well, I don't think he does. I don't think he is a correctly appointed and confirmed special counsel. And he's certainly not from outside of the government. He doesn't meet the actual definition of being outside the government. He's from the Department of Justice. So I think it's a very good motion. And I read that motion a while ago. And at the time that I read it, I thought it had a lot of merit to it. So I'll be real curious to see what Judge Cannon says about it. But we have to start holding the line on the law. This is what happens when we have attorneys and judges go, well, it's not really legal, but okay, okay, fine. We don't want to fight you on it. Okay, fine. And everyone says, okay, fine, okay, fine. Well, suddenly you have cases like Fani Willis in Georgia, or, the Jack Smith case, where people go, I don't think anything about this is legal. How did we get here? And we get here because, quite honestly, conservative attorneys haven't been fighting, and they haven't been pushing back, and they haven't been saying, no, we are going to stand on the letter of the law. We are going to make sure the law is enforced, and we're going to enforce it exactly as it's written. And we haven't really been doing a good job of that in this country for a while. And now, thankfully, we're starting to see kind of a resurgence of conservatives saying, no, we're actually going to make sure the law is followed. And I really hope that the judges follow suit.
Again, you've worked with Donald Trump for a long time. I have no idea how long you've been an attorney, but you've risen up in the ranks really high. You must be great at your job. I, as somebody who went to community college, I'm no lawyer, but even I know that if you go to a crime scene and you're a member of law enforcement and you decide to doctor the crime scene in a way that looks worse for the accused, then you become the criminal, right? Like if you plant evidence at a crime scene, that's no bueno. You might get an Uno reverse on that. And that is exactly what we've just learned over the last 48 hours Jack Smith did. He affixed classified document markings to classified documents. He reorganized where all the documents were. The documents were held at GSA and then shoved onto Trump's property. So who knows if the government actually planted the evidence there, where the classified documents were. And then we know that all the photos were staged. Yeah. So how does this case continue?
It shouldn't. I mean, those are really concerning facts. And what's so great about the way these cases are unfolding. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't believe they should have been brought in the first place, but they chose to bring these wild and crazy cases. So they're bringing them, and they're unfolding in a way, as you just so eloquently pointed out, you don't have to be a lawyer to see that it's complete bunk. Anybody can look at this and go, there's something wrong with that. And so I would say the silver lining of all of the turmoil that we've all been put through over the last several years is it's so obvious that the media is having a hard time covering it up. It used to be they could kind of tweak things here and there and throw in some legalese and legal mumbo jumbo to where the public was like, okay, I don't really get it, but I guess it's fine. They can't do that anymore. It's falling apart, and anybody can see, hey, they're treating Donald Trump one way, they're treating Joe Biden, who actually did have classified documents, who actually was not authorized to have them and stored them in a very insecure area. They're treating them very differently. I'm not a lawyer, but I can see that's not right. So I would say that's the silver lining to all of this, is it's plain as day what they're doing.
So silver linings, you're now at the RNC. We've been waiting for somebody with some brass to come into the RNC and really tighten the ship up a little bit. Where the hell were you the last couple of years, right? What are you doing with the money? Whatever. Okay. So time gone by, new leadership, Laura Trump, big time Michael Watley, Laura Trump fans around here. And the question that we have is obviously what happens in the lead up to elections and on election day to preserve the integrity of our election.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm thrilled with Chairman Whatley and co-chair Laura Trump. They both care very deeply about election integrity, and certainly that's something that is really important to me and something I've been working on for the president for the last few years and reporting on it prior to working for the president. So that's great news that this is something that they are really focused on and care a lot about. The RNC has a program called Protect the Vote. You can go to protectthevote.com and sign up to be a part of it and get trained as a poll worker, observer in your area. The lead up to the election, in my calculated opinion, is that we need a lot of people involved. This is not an election where you can just vote or just donate, although we're very grateful for donations. We need people. We need people involved to work the election. If you can't get in touch with the RNC, get in touch with your state party. If your state party some are more organized than others, and we're working really hard right now to kind of beef that up to make sure that the state parties have what they need to really serve the grassroots and serve the volunteers, but get involved some way. And there's a lot of great groups outside the RNC, outside the state parties. If you feel strongly, I know some people have strong opinions about it. So there are other groups out there as well, but whatever you do, get involved. We need everybody involved. This is an all hands on deck moment.
Yeah, we work very closely with Turning Point.
Yeah, they're a great group. Yeah.
Turning Point Action is a fantastic group. They're doing an amazing job with Get Out the Vote, working closely with Scott Pressler as well. He has his own organization.
Yep.
And so it's going to be a massive team effort. And we're very, very excited about some major events coming up. There's a Turning Point Action event that's going to feature Donald Trump in Detroit in a couple of weeks. So we'll be at that one as well. So moving forward, strategy 2024.
Yep.
Well, I think we're less than 6 months. Christina, what is the strategy? What are the main key takeaways for winning this thing? It does seem like you got the wind at your back. It's crazy to say.
Yeah, no, certainly. The strategy is the American people. I mean, this is the American people's time to determine who their leaders are. And I know there's a lot of concerns about illegals registering to vote and cleaning up the voter rolls and a lot of the concerns with election integrity. If you have concerns about it, the way you help alleviate those concerns is to get involved, because the more people are involved, the more you gain the momentum yourself to realize, hey, there's a lot of us. I spent the last couple of days in Wisconsin with a bunch of the grassroots groups out there, and it's just really encouraging to see everybody on the ground. I know you work with Turning Point and see all of those groups. When you're part of a group like that, you get really excited and go, okay, we can do this. But the key, truly, the key to securing and prevailing in 2024 in November is people involved. We like to say, the left controls the media. It's a very far left media with the big megaphones and all that, but we have the people. The American people support Donald Trump. The American people support America First values. And so we need the American people involved. So please get involved. Go to protectthevote.com, go to Turning Point, go to whatever group you like, but whatever you do, get involved, because there's a place for you. We need you, whatever your skill set is, however extroverted or introverted you are, there is a place for you. So please get involved.
So that you just bring up something I have to ask a follow-up question on. Criminal illegals voting in the election. That is something that is obviously deep concern, and many people were saying that was the play in the first place with the open border. How do you counteract that? And are you focused on that at the RNC?
100%. That's one of our biggest focuses, actually, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie; it's a very challenging issue, because you want to make sure that you're protecting people who have the lawful right to vote, and you don't want to be disenfranchising anybody. But yet it's very concerning to see massive groups of people flooding across the border, and then I'm sure you've seen a lot of the undercover reporting coming out and information coming out saying that these groups are then registering these people to vote in all 50 states, in the states that they show up in. So it's very concerning. It's like peeing in a swimming pool. How do you undo it? So what I would say is we need people involved at the county level, working for the counties, the people who manage voter rolls and are responsible at the counties for ensuring that lawful votes are cast. When the mail-in ballots come in, we need to have people there making sure, following the law to make sure that those votes that are coming in are lawful votes and only lawful votes are counted. So it comes down to eyeballs. How many eyeballs can we get on in the basically the chain of custody, where we legally can have everybody? We need people involved, because yes, I genuinely believe this is their plan for 2024. And the way we stop it is by having as many people as possible in the chain of custody for the documents to make sure that it's the lawful votes that are counted.
So you genuinely believe that the plan is to have the 10 million plus illegals that have come into this country illegally vote in the election, register them to vote, and that will push Joe Biden over the line in a close election.
I think that's certainly part of their strategy. I think it's a big part of their strategy, and I think they care less about the illegals actually voting and care more about the registration. We've seen that they have a very robust, whether you want to call it ballot harvesting or ballot trafficking, depending on whether it's legal or not. Yes. We're seeing that these nonprofit organizations are stepping up to justify the residency. They are saying, yes, these illegal immigrants are staying with us, their residence is with us. So when the mail-in ballots go out, they're just getting mailed to these nonprofits because supposedly that's where these immigrants are living. So yeah, I definitely think that's part of their plan. Whether what else they're going to do, I have, God only knows, but that's certainly a large part of it. Yeah.
But you're illegal. You don't have a social security number. Nobody knows where you're from.
Illegals can get social security numbers. They can actually.
So this is the play then.
It's a large part of it. I don't know that I wouldn't say it's the only play, but it's certainly a part of it. Yes. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. We can combat this. Please don't misunderstand. We're preparing for it, but we need the American people's help. We need people to get involved, to have eyes on, to make sure that it's legal voters and legal votes that are cast, and that our votes are not being diluted by this invasion across our southern border. So I'm not trying to scare anybody. The size of the problem is big, but we absolutely can secure it, but we can't do it without the American people.
Nor am I a doomer or anything, right? We do our best to be chipper on the program,
right?
But I just don't know how an election monitor looks at somebody with a social security number who came here illegally, who has a ballot. Like, I don't know how they stop somebody who is unlawful to vote, but yet the system has allowed them to vote. Like, I don't know how that's stopped, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on each state and the voting procedures for each state. You're not allowed, again, we're not allowed to ask the voters their citizenship, which certainly plays into allowing illegals to register. So there's a lot of challenges to it, but it's not insurmountable, but there are challenges to it. But the best solution is to make sure that as many American citizens who can legally vote and legally participate are involved in the process. I mean, that is democracy, right? I know we have a constitutional republic, but as far as democracy goes, isn't it best to have as many people involved in the process as possible to get the best result? That's what it is. And so that's what we're trying to encourage, is have as many people involved in the process as possible.
Too big to rig is my favorite campaign slogan.
I like that.
For the president. Is my favorite. I hope that he trots that out. I hope he continues that level of messaging. You have to activate people who haven't voted in the last 40 years, like, and let them know. Now,
yeah.
I think there's enough people pissed off at Joe Biden that it really won't matter. That's what we see in the polls, but
yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's right. I genuinely think that's right. I think President Trump is going to prevail in this election. I don't even think it's going to be close. Of course, we're preparing for a very close election, but I honestly don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a decisive victory for Donald Trump. We should have an answer on election night. We're prepared if we don't. But if we have enough people involved, just like Virginia in 2021, they had a result on election night, even though it was so close to 2020. And I think we can do that again here. So that's the goal.
So you're ready. So you're ready with lawsuits. You're ready to lock down these polling locations and say no more voting, no more ballot drops at 3 a.m.
We're prepared to have eyes on and do everything that we legally can do. Yeah, I mean, I don't have control to lock down polling locations, but certainly having eyes on and collecting the evidence. I sincerely hope we don't get to that. Yeah. I worked post 2020, and I don't want post election challenges this time around. I would much rather just win outright, and that's certainly the goal. So if we have post-election challenges, so be it. But every intention of mine is to make sure we have an outright victory and there is no post-election challenge.
Good. Okay. Well, that would be amazing.
That's the goal.
That would make for an easier night, I suppose, for us. We'll have champagne and we'll be ready to pop it. Christina Bobb, we say thank you so much for your work. I mean, obviously, it's so great to have somebody who's willing to fight and able to fight. And please come on the show again. The audience loves you. So.
Oh, thanks, Benny. Thanks for everything you do. Your voice is so powerful, and I'm grateful for all you're doing.
All right, Godspeed.